Love to travel every year is growing steadily, and most of us tends to visit various popular resorts, exotic tours, interesting excursions and famous sites. Especially since there are many places like this on our planet. But among these places there are those that, despite all its attraction, can be dangerous for both the physical as well as for mental health. Hello, this is the Amazing Tops channel, and today we have prepared for you 10 incredibly interesting and at the same time frightening sites that you will definitely like. Let's go. Number 1. The Devil's Pool. At the very edge of the Victoria Falls, which is located in South Africa on the Zambezi River, between the countries of Zambia and Zimbabwe, there is the so-called Devil's Pool, which, like many pools of this type, was formed as a result of millennia of erosion. Such a name for him given due to its location, because from the abyss of the waterfall to the pool, there is only about a meter, and there is also little hope for the dividing stone ledge, because it is very slippery from the moss formed on it, and not every person, even if he is very brave, decides to pose on the edge of the abyss, from which flows about 500,000 cubic meters of water per minute from a height of more than 100 meters. By the way, the locals called the Victoria Falls thundering smoke, since the water, falling from a height and breaking into small pieces, raises rainbow splashes to a height of more than 500 meters, thereby creating a roar and wet smoke. But still, it is better to swim in this place under supervision experienced guides, because they will show where it is better to enter the water and also hold you if necessary. You can swim in this natural pool only in autumn, when the water level becomes low. Usually this period is from mid-August to the end of December, while access more reliable in October and November, when the water flow is at its weakest. But keep in mind that seasonal levels change from year to year, depending on how much and when it rained upstream. The Devil's Pool is becoming more and more popular every year, about 300,000 tourists visit it every year, because it is not only an unforgettable sight but also excellent photographs that all relatives and friends will review with delight. Catacombs of Paris. This truly creepy attraction that attracts millions of tourists from all over the world is located in France, in a network of underground tunnels about 1.5 kilometers long, on the site of ancient Roman quarries near Paris, where the remains of more than 6 million people are stored. If you are not afraid of ghosts and graves, go down into the dungeons to get in touch with the otherworldly, because throughout the entire route, you will be captured by pictures of millions of human bones and skulls. Some of them are stacked, some laid out with signs indicating why they were there, whether it was a war, an epidemic, or just a reburial. At the end of the 18th century, many cemeteries in Paris were overloaded with the remains of the dead, which led people to complain about the stench from dead bodies and the spread of infections in these cemeteries. As a result, the city authorities decided to transfer their contents to the former quarries of Tombeau, located near the city. In period from 1785 to 1787, the largest cemetery of the Holy Innocents in Paris was excavated and moved to the dungeons. Soon this practice spread to other cemeteries in the city. Thrill seekers should definitely include the catacombs in their sightseeing program to tickle their nerves, plunging into the mysterious atmosphere of the past. The Gates of Hell, or the Radiance of the Catacombs. A burning gas crater in the town of Darvaza in Turkmenistan, popularly called the Gates of Hell, and located in the center of the desert called the Catacombs, about 260 kilometers from Ashgabat. It is a failure with a diameter of 60 meters and a depth of about 20 meters on the territory of a massive natural gas field. It is a Turkmen landmark that attracts the attention of scientists and tourists. This spectacle looks truly delightful, a red-hot pit of death that leads straight into the abyss. In 1971, Soviet geologists discovered an accumulation of natural gas in this area, and having drilled well, caused a collapse, as a result of which the upper layers of soil simply collapsed into an underground cave, opening a large hole filled with gas. In order to avoid poisoning people and livestock, geologists decided to set it on fire, believing that the fire would die down over time, but the bursting gas continued to burn for more than 50 years. In 2018 year, the crater received the official name of the Radiance of the Catacombs, and excursions are organized to it, which are especially popular at night. Haiku Trail or Stairway to Heaven. This is one of the most beautiful and extreme hiking trails in Hawaii, which passes through the mountainous terrain on the island of Oahu. Initially, this lift was not intended for tourists and was built in 1942 for the needs of the military. Through it, the commanders got to the antennas located on the top of the hill, transmitting signals to the boats of the US Navy up to Tokyo Bay off the coast of Japan. But in 1987, the need for a radio tower disappeared, and the stairs turned into a cult walking route that people come from all over the world to conquer. But you should think 10 times before making this dizzying journey, because you have to overcome 3,922 steps to the top of the Kulau Cliff, 850 meters high. It is literally in the clouds, and the climb is so steep that not everyone can keep their balance while climbing. In the year 2003, the Haiku Trail was completely reconstructed for the safety of tourists who still risk walking along the extreme route. Since then, the staircase has been periodically open and closed because the authorities of the island of Oahu still consider this vertical route too dangerous for both travelers and locals. A Step into the Void. This is the name of an exciting adventure in French Chamonix, the Arona Alps region, which will tremendously raise your adrenaline levels in the blood and make you need to change your underwear. This attraction is located on the top of the Higi-du-Midi mountain at a height of 3,842 meters opposite the Mont Blanc Massif, which is the highest point in Europe. A completely transparent cube, walls, floor and ceiling, which is made of glass, hangs over an abyss, the depth of which is much as 1,035 meters above the valley, so the views from here are literally dizzying. As the developers assure, the walls of the observation cabin are able to withstand the wind at a speed of 220 kilometers per hour and temperature drops of 60 degrees Celsius, both minus and plus. The walls, floor and ceiling of the observation deck are made of 12mm tempered glass. To get to the Step into the Void attraction, you need to take a 20-minute cable car ride up the mountain to the highest station of the Higi-du-Midi lift, the lower station of which is located in the village of Chamonix. By the way, to go out onto the glass panel, you need to put on felt slippers that will not damage the transparent surface. In general, Step into the Void is quite safe, but very scary. Cell of Death. An attraction for true adrenaline lovers which is located in the city of Darwin in Australia, a recreation park called Crocodile Bay. You have the unique opportunity to swim safely with the world's largest reptile in a completely transparent plexiglass cage, called the Death Cage. First, you are hung over a pool in which 5-meter saltwater crocodiles live, and then the cage is lowered into the water, which gives daredevils a 360-degree view of the reptile. So you have no choice but to meet her face to face. Gaze at his intimidating gaze, feel the sheer power of his 3-ton bite and the resilience of a modern dinosaur. The session lasts 15 minutes, and in principle, during this time, your heart will already have time to go to your heels 10 times more. Professional photographers are here, both in the aviary and outside it, to capture this memorable event for each of its participants. The attraction is suitable for 2 people, so you don't have to endure a reptile encounter alone. Are you brave enough to face the Cell of Death? Doll Island. And this mysterious and truly creepy place is located about 18 kilometers to the south from the center of Mexico City in Mexico, in the heart of the unremarkable city of Xochimilco. For those who have never heard of this place, the expectation to see the beautiful and cute world of toys is shattered into dust. In fact, the island is filled with dirty and ugly weather-worn mutilated dolls. With missing body parts, no arms and no eyes, they make whole compositions. Some of them are screwed to tree trunks, and some hang on ropes with their heads turned back. The blackened, dirty and wrinkled faces of these dolls look at tourists with empty eye sockets. The spectacle, it must be said, is not for the faint of heart. In the 50s of the last century, the hermit Julian Barraro, who renounced the world and family in favor of the island, began to collect dolls from Westebaskets and hang them on branches. His goal was to rest the soul of a girl who drowned here and then of all the children who in different years drowned in these parts. In the end, Barrera managed to turn this wonderful island into a rather strange and scary place where the creepy eyes of mutilated toys watch your every step. Today the hermit's family, who drowned himself in the year 2001, contained his museum under the open sky on the donation of numerous visitors. Here there is no electricity and communications, and you can get here only by boat. Glass Bridge in China. And this attraction will make you afraid, especially if you are afraid of heights. This is a glass bridge in China, which is located in Jingjiaji National Park in Hunan Province and is the longest glass bridge in the world. Its length is 430 meters, and with a height of 6 meters, it is located above the abyss of the canyon at a height of 300 meters. The structure, consisting of heavy-duty glass panels, is safe and equipped with the latest technology. At the same time, up to 800 people can be on the glass sheet, provided that you can only walk on it in special shoe covers so as not to scratch the surface. This is the trick, because the glass under your feet has a very high transparency, and it just seems to a person that he is walking by air. And along with the side suspension cables and the colossal wind speed at such a height, it creates a feeling of being in pure nature, floating in the air between heaven and earth, like a butterfly with wings. Extreme entertainment is in high demand among tourists, so since the opening of the bridge, the number of visitors who want to tickle their nerves has been growing every year. Death Road in Bolivia. One of the most dangerous roads in the world, it stretches from the Bolivian capital of La Paz to the city of Coroico. Its length is 64 kilometers, and first of all it amazes with the difference in heights. From La Paz, it first goes up to its highest point, the Lacumber Pass, located at around 4,650 meters above sea level. And then it goes down to the valley, where the height above sea level does not exceed 1,200 meters. The Death Road was built in 1932 during the war between Bolivia and Paraguay and gained notoriety because of the many accidents that killed drivers with passengers and cyclists. Official statistics are not kept, but local people say that more than 100 people die every year. The reasons for such a high death rate are sharp turns, a narrow roadway, inattention of drivers, and a sheer cliff that stretches along the entire length of the road. Rains, fogs and landslides can be added to this. It is extremely difficult to drive along such a road, and in some places it is so narrow that any careless movement of the driver threatens to turn into a disaster. At the bottom of the cliff there are many vehicles damaged by the fall. As a tourist route, this road has become famous thanks to extreme cyclists who come here to experience the thrill. But those who decide to take a chance and continue their route here must remember that there is no way back, and dizzying descents can be much more expensive than fame and money. Ghost Island. One of the incredibly creepy and mysterious places in Japan is Hashima Island, located in the East China Sea, 15 kilometers from the city of Nagasaki. Tourists call it a border island, as its name is translated from Japanese. Visually, it resembles a huge ship, thanks to the environment of concrete fortifications and slabs. According to the legends, the island is inhabited by many lost souls and cursed spirits. It is said that you can hear them crying and whispering to each other as you walk around the island. And the oppressive atmosphere of the island brings even more fear and anxiety. Until the beginning of the 19th century, it was part of the rock, birds nested on it, people rested and fished. But after coal was accidentally discovered there, the island became an industrial center with a dense population. In addition to coal, military production began, and by 1960 the population of the island was 5,500 people, which is almost a world record for densely populated on such a small land area. The length of the island is only 500 meters, and the width is 160. And it's quite hard to believe that, but at that time a school worked on Hassim, there was a cafe, its own cemetery, and even 2 swimming pools. The disaster began in the 70s. Coal reserves were running out, and over time people were forced to leave the territory. And so the dead island of Hashima in Japan was born. Already approaching this piece of land on a boat, you can immediately see the emergency state of the buildings. They look devastated and creepy. Broken windows, empty classrooms at the school, and old toys suggest that people once lived here. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. Bye.